It's not often we get to talk about Apple getting rid of a product, especially a product that carries with it so many great ideas, like an amazing design, excellent build quality, packed with specs, and provides the best value in its product category. Well, if you've been keeping well informed and keeping up with the rumor mill, you would know that Apple's next iPhone lineup will not include a mini phone, and this may be your last chance to get one of the best iPhones ever made. Luckily, though, it's not your last chance to subscribe to the Morning Brew newsletter. Before Morning Brew, my mornings were inundated with time-wasting doom scrolling through social media, but no more. My mornings are now focused on reading informative, witty, and relevant daily news that gets me up to speed in just 5 minutes in topics like business, finance, and you guessed it, tech. With stories like how Apple under Tim Cook is actively defending their brand and company intellectual property by filing more than 215 trademark oppositions between 2019 and 2021, which was more than Microsoft, Amazon, Facebook, and Google combined for that same period. Informative stories like this are delivered directly to your email inbox Monday through Sunday, and there's absolutely no reason not to subscribe to Morning Brew. It's completely free and takes less than 15 seconds to sign up, so click the link in the description to subscribe to Morning Brew today, and thank you so much to Morning Brew for sponsoring this video. Alright, so first of all, what's happening with the iPhone lineup? Well, to make a long story short, it looks like Apple is cutting the Mini from the iPhone 14 lineup and probably future phone lineups altogether. Why, Greg, why? Well, it's because unfortunately for mini-sized phone lovers, the Mini just isn't appealing to a wide segment of phone buyers right now, with most users wanting bigger phone-sized options. And while the sales data for Apple means a shift away from this type of phone, it doesn't mean you should be afraid of owning one. And if you're interested in owning one, this may be the last time at owning a mini-sized iPhone, at least in its current flagship status for the rest of the year. Now, why do I like the 13 mini so much? And what has my experience been like owning one for the past 7 months now? And what do you gain by going with a smaller phone? Well, first off, you gain value because the iPhone 13 mini starts at $699, and thankfully, it comes with double the starting storage of last year's 12 mini. So with 128 gigabytes of starting storage and at that $699 price point, this to me at least marks one of Apple's cheapest flagship iPhones with enough storage where I can comfortably recommend the base model for most users. And that's a big deal. It's rare that we see Apple increase the value of their base model this much. And small moves like this make the 13 mini a comparably much better value than what Apple was offering with the 12 series. I mean, look at the iPad Air. It still just comes with 64 gigabytes of storage. And it's very likely we won't experience a base upgrade in starting storage, at least for the next few cycles of phone upgrades, making the 13 mini a phone that will keep its value. Furthermore, despite its smaller size, the 13 mini gets all of the same exact features as the regular size iPhone 13. So you don't have to worry about missing certain camera features, display quality, processor speed, and so on. You really only have to worry about the display size and maybe some battery life issues. And I think that's kind of the Mini's raison d'être. I don't know, I'm not French. But I do think the most valuable question I can answer is if you're trying to decide whether to pick up the 13 mini is what makes the smaller form factor such a unique experience when you compare it against every other iPhone in this lineup, and what you gain and not what you lose by going for it. This is Apple's smallest phone since the iPhone 5 body design, which was also used in the first iPhone SE. It's even smaller than the current iPhone SE or iPhone 6 style of phone bodies, despite actually having a bigger display than those phones, with a 5.4-inch display. This may sound small in modern terms when you compare it against massive phones like the 6.7-inch iPhone 13 Pro Max, but in display area, this phone is actually just 0.1 inches smaller than what was previously Apple's biggest screen phone with their iPhone Plus series. So despite the Mini's name, the display here is very usable, but you still retain a lot of the advantages of going with a smaller phone form factor, and that would primarily be with one-handed use. I can comfortably reach almost every part of the 13 mini's display while holding it one-handed. This is especially useful when you're mobile, and the 13 mini excels at typing one-handed, where your thumbs can quickly hit every key on the bottom of the keyboard with ease. And it doesn't feel awkward to use this way like it can with bigger phones if you're not one of those freaks who have large hands. You know, my hands are medium size. Maybe a little bit small, but they're not large. Sorry. It also makes the phone so pocketable, and that combined with the lighter weight of the Mini means you can walk around without feeling like you're supposed to be on house arrest. The form factor also slides in and out of your pocket easier, and because you feel more comfortable when handing this phone, I feel like it's just quicker to take out and start using, where there's always a little bit more of an awkward shuffle with the bigger iPhone model. Sometimes you gotta take it out and then reach for your other hand, kind of grip it like that. With the Mini, just take it out, hold it one hand, you're good to go. Like, if we made a character RPG sheet of the 13 mini, the Mini would have all the strength and power of the regular 13, but win extra points for dexterity and handling. The display quality is just up there with the iPhone 13 as well. So it has the same OLED display, which is still 60 Hz on the normal phones, but I find that it still looks pretty smooth, especially on iOS. Gets up to 800 nits of brightness. The display looks really clear even on a bright sunny day, and unlike devices like the iPad mini where the software doesn't feel like it was tailor-made for the smaller display, I feel like that's the opposite on the iPhone, and iOS 15 looks like it was actually crafted for use on the smaller displays, where on the Max phones, there appears to be a lot of wasted space. It's almost weird how much more optimized iOS feels for smaller phones than it does for the flagship 6.7-inch Max model. Now, normally you would face one big issue with the 13 mini size, and that is battery life. In fact, the 12 mini I used last year just wasn't good enough to get me reliably through a day of intense usage. However, Apple increased the battery size in every model of the iPhone 13 this year, and that includes the Mini. This means that according to Apple, the Mini will get 1.5 hours more in battery life, which brings it right along to the same exact rating as last year's normal size iPhone 12. And after owning this phone for more than half a year now, I can say this one improvement makes the Mini so much better. So for the 13 mini, I can reliably get through an entire day of usage with around 5 to 6 hours of screen on time. You can even eke out a little bit more battery life by turning off 5G, but on the 13 mini, it's not necessary to go to those extremes like I would usually have to do on my 12 mini. I feel comfortable using this as my daily phone, and while I'll always have some sort of battery anxiety, I mean, I'm just riddled with anxiety, so of course I'm gonna have battery anxiety. When I actually use this phone and I take it out by the end of the day at 10 o'clock and I look and I see it's 20% remaining, I gotta say that's fine. It's gonna get me reliably through most days of use. But that's not every day of use, and everyone uses their phones in different ways. For example, when I did my 13 mini video when I took a trip to New York City and I stress tested that phone, I found that my phone died around 7 p.m. So on a light to normal day, I think this phone will definitely get you through that day of usage. But if you're a power user, this is a phone that will get you through a 9 to 6 work day, and you may have to top off the battery. That's basically to say your mileage may vary. However, the battery and size is really the only difference between this and the regular 13, and that is a big testament to the 13 mini. The mini even comes with the same performance with the same A15 chip as the normal 13. So this phone is downright snappy and smooth. But honestly, so is my 12 mini. So are the improvements here for the A15 really that impressive? Maybe on paper, but everyday phone tasks, it's kind of hard to imagine what you'll do with all of this power. I think for most users though, what this A15 means is that this phone will update very gracefully. Don't forget, this is a phone that you might be buying for the long haul, especially if Apple does not plan to ever make another mini phone again. So buying this phone today means that you want it to last for a long time, and because it's packed with the A15 chip and 4 gigabytes of RAM, I feel like we are comfortably going to get updates for this phone for at least the next 5 years, and I'm pretty sure, and I hope, that it runs very smoothly for all or most of those years, because there is just so much headroom with these powerful Apple Silicon chips. In a lot of ways, the major improvement to this year's Mini comes in the camera department, and it's still an impressive camera system, and considering what Apple has packed into this small phone, it is even more impressive because this is the same exact camera system that was found on the iPhone 12 Pro Max, and that is a very big phone. So that actually means that the 13 mini, the main camera system on it, is actually better than the 12 Pro, which was also a bigger phone than the mini. So what that really means is that the main wide-angle camera is the real star here. It provides beautiful shots in most lighting scenarios, and I really like shooting with this smaller phone form factor. It's a lot of fun to take photos with, and the main f1.5 aperture captures these photos well even in low light scenarios where the 13 mini doesn't even need to kick on its night mode. Of course, if the scene is too dark, night mode is there. That is another advantage to the mini, where the other small iPhone in Apple's lineup is the iPhone SE, and you do miss out on some of those modern computational photography features even though they both have the same A15 chip. The ultra-wide camera in the Mini is not as impressive though, especially when you compare it to the version that is shipping in the Pro phones this year, because it lacks the new macro mode and it also lacks that autofocus. So you can't get up close and detailed with those 13 mini pictures, and because it has the slower aperture, it can struggle a lot in lower lighting situations. Overall though, I still really love this camera system, especially on a phone this small, and mainly that's why I love using the 13 mini. The experience of using a flagship phone with the same processing power, the same camera system, and very little compromises compared to the regular 13 make me really like this phone. I don't feel like I'm giving up that much by going for this phone, and I feel like I'm gaining a lot by using this form factor. To me, this phone feels like the true successor to the iPhone 5S. For people who realize what that means, it means a phone that stayed true to the original design intentions of the iPhone, where you can actually get your hand around it and use it comfortably in one hand. For many people, that ship has sailed and they are happy using bigger and bigger phones. But if you're interested in owning a phone that truly feels like a modern day iPhone 4, then you should absolutely buy the 13 mini before it's too late. All right, everyone, hopefully you enjoyed this video, but I want to know in the comments below, what do you think about the iPhone 13 mini? Are you sad that Apple is potentially going to be getting rid of the mini phones from their lineup? And because of this, do you plan on buying one, or do you already own one? As always, if you like the video, make sure you give me a like. If you want to see more from the channel, make sure you're subscribed. Don't forget to check out our sponsor for this video, Morning Brew. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video. Take care, everyone.